If a driver was to win an award for the best looking, it's going to be the new Cobra. This year's Cobra DarkSpeed is unbelievable. In terms of looks anyway, it's completely blacked out. I love the look of this thing. Really good frame, that address looks really sharp, the graphics are great. I think Cobra are doing a really stellar job at bringing really cool looking products to the marketplace. And if you haven't heard about them before, you need to look at this video because it's all about the adjustability within the club, how I'm using the weights, how I'm using the hosel, and a little bit on the shafts as well to get the most out of this driver. Hey, I'm Derek from ForeGolf Custom. This is the review of the new Cobra DarkSpeed. Okay, we've 4 heads. We've the LS, we've the X, we've the Max, and we've the Max Ladies. Let's start with the LS. Okay, LS stands for low spin. Last year's model was actually really good for me at that high speed, that low handicap, or that driver flight that you're getting out of the sky. So your Titleist, normally Titleist golfers, your guys who were using LS in the paint, guys were looking to hit the ball flat. I had a couple of really strong ball strikers in here who ended up in the Cobra LS and weren't even thinking about it when they came in the room. The weighting on this is really cool. So all the weighting is forward, but they've also got a back weight on there as well. So I can rotate the weight around this head. I can make it a little bit more fade bias. I can make it a little bit more draw bias, and I can make the weighting at the back if I want a little bit more MOI. There's a new PWO or power bridge design in this head, which is actually moving weight forward and keeping spin very low on this driver. It's also helping a little with kind of, I guess, stability or structure at strike, which low handicap or strong ball strikers are looking for. The sound from this is great. The phonetics are brilliant. They've done a great job at keeping that sound down so that it feels strong, feels structured. With all this new carbon fiber, we're getting a lot more weight back as club fitters. And this weight then I can distribute around the head depending on how I want the club head to work with the shaft, work with the player's release points, work with the way I want the ball to come out, so launch and spin. It's very good. The hosel's brilliant as well because it gives the golfer a little insight into exactly what's happening, whether it's a higher launch, higher loft, whether it's a lower launch, whether it's more draw, and very intuitive. So great in terms of getting the player to understand, look, your driver's a little bit more launch because I brought the loft up a little, look, there it is there, +1, or I want a little bit more draw and there it is, +1D. With that LS driver, I'm tending to keeping the weight forward on this, to be honest. I'm not really putting a lot to the back. I'm using it to maybe be a little bit more fade bias, a little bit more draw bias, depending on the miss. So if I'm missing a little bit more draw, I'm moving the weight into the toe most of the time, holding the club head off, using the low torque in the shaft to keep the club head stable, maybe pointing a little bit more further right at address so I can get the golfer to feel like the driver wants to stay on the right so it doesn't want to turn over. It's great at that. In fact, out of all my drivers, it's the best one for increasing the fade bias and keeping the spin low. Loving that head. Next head then is the X. X basically has 2 weights, one forward, one back. To be honest, in this driver, not really using much weight forward. You're kind of wanting to go into LS if you need to put weight forward in that kind of a driver, but putting the weight at the back gives you this high moment of inertia in that driver head. The X is probably more stable, so you can create the stability. If you struggle with off center hits, push the loft up, go up in loft in this driver. Because of the hosel now, you can go through a whole plethora of lofts. So if you think you want to kind of control the spin on it, go up in loft and then use the hosel to maybe create more of a draw if you want draw from the hosel for the head, or if you want a little bit more launch, a little bit more pitch height. The driver does spin quite low with this new power bridge, like I said, so make sure you're using loft to your advantage. Remember, loft is your friend. Okay, the Max. This is the driver that we would probably use the most here at ForeGolf. The reason being, it allows me to create more draw. So I can move the heavy weight into the heel if I need to, and I've been getting the driver to turn over a little bit more, and then use the hosel as well to go up in loft and create that more draw. Or if I'm getting a real sliding hit to the right, I can put it into a lower loft draw setting, which is brilliant. Move that weight into the heel. It's been doing wonderful for us. In fact, little secret, Don gets the weights in workshop. So what we've been doing is we've actually been at times adding both heavy weights to the club head. This creates a slightly heavier head, makes the driver want to turn over really quickly. It's a bit against the rules, but hey, whatever it gets, get the job over the line and make the driver work as best as possible. The other driver then is the Max in the Ladies, just a slightly different colorway. It's a slightly higher loft setting. It's lighter, obviously, in weight because they've got a shorter length in there. But technically, the Max and the Max Ladies almost the same kind of driver head. In fact, we've been using both because we've been getting both results out of both. So we tend to use the Max and the Max Ladies depending on the client. They're using the UST as their standard shaft this year. Not a bad offering. But I really think as though you need to be able to expand through the different shaft offerings to get the right dial in for this type of club. I don't think you should go with just a standard plug and play and rotate it. Although their standard length in gents driver is a little shorter than any of the other brands this year, which is a good thing because I think it controls things better. But you may want to get the right type of shaft for this head depending on the type of flight that you're looking for. So, to summarize, really good driver. Really, really good looking driver. I think it's one you need to maybe look at. I think it's one you need to put into the mix if you're thinking about a new driver for 24, and certainly use the weights and the design of the different heads to suit the type of flight that you want. So with all this new carbon fiber, the weighting has a really strong part to play. Remember the hosel. Don't just do one and not the other. Optimize them both to get the maximum out of this new driver, and hopefully, fingers crossed, you'll see a little bit further maybe from your older driver because it's launching higher and spinning a little lower, but certainly in terms of direction, this is one that's going to help you find a lot more fairways. If you like what you see, please give the video a like. And stick in the comments below, which of these heads do you think suits you best? Is it the LS, is it the X, or is it the Max? And I'll see you at the next video. Thanks for watching.